Good morning to those of you here in the paddock. Good morning to those of you watching live from home. Welcome back to the SKUSA Summer Nationals here in 2025. It's Sunday. Justin, myself, Caleb Yeska, Justin Prince alongside me. We're going to bring you guys all the live coverage throughout the day. And again, we're happy to have you guys here. Welcome back to the morning show here in SKUSA. Justin, a great day of racing yesterday. A lot of winners and a lot of championship implications as well. Yeah, yesterday, the biggest talking point, right? Luckily for us, the clouds look pretty clear. We haven't seen many cloud coverage throughout the day, but even then, it's been a day for sure, right, Justin? With the amount of rain, with the amount of stuff we had, obviously for us, it's been a great day. I would say up to this point here, Justin. And again, we've been running for quite some time.
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to today, it's going to be the matter of being able to see who's been able to learn from yesterday, make sure that everyone has that information down on how this track is going to be approached and how these people are going to be able to run this circuit as it's really rubbered up. And it became slick yesterday with some of the rain, obviously, but it's really gripped up to be able to find that speed. A lot of teams, when I talk to people on Friday especially, were trying to find that balance on grip, on over grip, and having not enough grip. Today, we're about to see where a lot of these teams have been able to sort themselves out for the final day of this weekend.
We'll move around as well. We'll talk to some of the drivers that won yesterday. They see the Micro Swift class now starting to grid up. And again, yesterday here in Micro was a 229 of Brody Stoffel, who's actually walking up to grid now. We'll talk to him here a little bit as well here this morning. Brody, I would say a good day for you yesterday, right? Taking the win and as well getting yourself closer in the championship. Talk about the win yesterday. Conditions out there were tricky.
I was like it's so hard in the conditions at the start, but then it got easier as it went on. And Lennox was starting to gap, but then his tire pressure started to get off at the end, so I started catching him. And I just got around him. Then I was like, he's got my draft window, so I don't know what we could do. But coming into this, I felt confident. But he still gapped away from Lennox, surprisingly.
We'll move our way up here as well. I'm going to give you a chance to thank all the people that made it possible for you here. We'll walk up here, let more karts work their way onto the grid. I mean, huge support group for you here this weekend, right? Your family with you. You guys are out of the RV. Who would you like to thank for the victory yesterday?
My family, Phil Pignantero, my mechanic, Jay Howard, driver development, Last Lap Insider, e-karting news for taking videos of me on Instagram. I'd like to thank the Academy and my sponsorship. I would like to thank my friends, all of my friends, Jonathan and taking my coaching, basically. And that's pretty much it.
Well, congrats, Brody. We'll see you out there again today.
Thank you.
There you guys have from Brody Stoffel. Again, a great day for him yesterday. Very tricky conditions for them. Throughout the grid, all the coaches were coming here talking. That was one of the biggest classes that we saw as well, Justin. That was kind of faced with the half and half, right? It was very slick out there. But again, it was still damp out on the racetrack, so they were just having to navigate their way through the racetrack as well all day yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely, and it caused a lot of chaos as a result, but it was pretty entertaining to say the very least to see how the best drivers adapted to the condition. They were able to figure out what they were needing to do. What do they need to do as drivers to know what they have to fare about in the wet conditions? At the very least, it was a scramble for a lot of the teams. Now today, it's not going to be as much of a scramble to be able to think about what they have to do as teams and as organizations to be able to sort out what they need to do here. Now it's the matter of, for a lot of these teams today, where are they going to stand in terms of overall pace, especially with it expected to be very hot and in turn very hot track temperatures today?
Yeah, we'll see. This morning we talked about track temp, right? I have this track temperature gun that I have on the side of my belt here, Justin. Don't use it much. Use it this morning, right? 82.7 degrees this morning, and again, we're expecting that track to continue to heat up as well as this day goes on. We're at the front of the grid. Championship implications, K Junior. That's one of the championships that we've seen, I think, coming into today. I don't want to say wrapped up. You can never say it too early, but Alexander Vanchev has been in a league of his own. We saw yesterday, right? 10 seconds on the field in that K Junior main event. Justin, you were on the call for that one.
Yes, indeed, and it kind of goes right back to what we've seen for Alexander Vanchev throughout this season in terms of speed, in terms of consistency. Vanchev on long runs just seems to be able to find his way to be able to pull away from the pack, to be able to run away and be able to control things. And he has that confidence as a driver. Remember in Cincinnati, I spoke with him and he mentioned he liked being able to break away from the pack. And we've seen here this weekend, that's been the case. Now, his other class in terms of the X30 side of things has been a challenge, obviously, with him not having the best of qualifying performance runs in the first place where he had to come back to the field for a top 10. But the raw pace and the talent is there as a driver. It's just a matter of, can he do it again today? The trend has said the first day he pulls away, the second day has been a lot closer.
Well, there you go. Your Micro Swifts now work their way out onto the racetrack. We talked to a couple of our Pro Shifter drivers that are now working their way onto the grid here for the morning. We'll talk to a couple of them. One of the ones I think that had a good day. Hunter, if you want to work your way back here with us as well. One of the ones that we didn't talk to yesterday, but I would say I think one of his better performances on the year, Michael Avancino. We talked to you a little bit, Michael. Well, I should say we talked to you at the start of the year, I think, more than we talked to you yesterday, but seemed like a struggle day, I would say, in heat race number 1. Heat 2 looked a lot better for you. Talk about heat 1. It seemed like, you kind of had to get your elbows out there in that one.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a struggle for me, just I was sleeping, I guess, wasn't reacting how I should have been, and just, got used up, and I should have been doing the same thing back to everybody else. So, it's shifter car racing, it's how it goes, so I just got to adapt and get better.
I think back to last year, right, in 2024, this was the first kind of Pro Tour race that you did. You put yourself in a Super Bowl quali. You did it again yesterday with teammate Aiden Rudolph. But what about this track really suits, the Ron White Racing CRG for you?
It's just, I like faster tracks. It's a shifter track. It suits the chassis well. It suits our motors well. And it's just a track that's been good to me so far. So hopefully I can capitalize on it and make it a good weekend today.
Best of luck, Michael.
Thank you.
Move on and talk to a couple of others as well. I think some drivers having a little bit quieter weekends than others. We'll talk to Ian Quinn over here as well, the number 9. Ian, I would say, pretty good throughout the practice sessions on the Friday, putting yourself in the top 5. How did they go for you yesterday?
It went okay. We were able to keep ourselves on track, which is better than most of this year has gone. So we finished about P15 to P17 in all the heat races. We had speed and windows throughout the races, but a lot of hard racing. There's a lot of go-karts out here. We're lucky that that we were able to keep it on track. But we just got to put it all together for today, and I think we know how to do that.
Wish you luck, Ian.
Thank you.
There you guys have from me and Quinn, and you shouldn't hear, right? Just some drivers looking for a little bit of better luck. And again, one of the big things here, the club racing scene here in Newcastle has been pretty good this year, especially with Shifter. One of the local kids, hometown kids, started the year off quite well, the Factory Fury GP machine. Charlie, you've actually, I joked around to start the weekend, right? Called you Mr. Worldwide. You've been over in Europe. What'd you learn over there, obviously racing on the GP racing machine?
It was really helpful for me, get some experience on the tracks over there. It was really high speed and high grip. So it helped me kind of when rubber went down, just kind of have a good baseline for where we needed to be setup-wise when the rubber gets laid down.
It's almost like a better understanding for when you have 40 others, right, joining you here at your home track.
Yeah, it's been helpful.
There you go. Wish you luck, Charlie.
Thank you.
There you guys had from Charlie Steins as well. And interesting to hear, right? I mean, this track has rubbered in as the weekend's gone on. It's definitely put down a lot of grip, Justin, needless to be said. And we've heard from multiple different drivers, right, that's been the biggest thing to kind of get used to.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, this is a layout for a lot of these drivers they haven't really had the chance to be able to utilize in this series. It's changed so far several times over the years in terms of that layout format. In the words of AJ Myers yesterday for the press conference, it's a whole different track compared to where he's ran in the past, and it shows some dominant speed. So for many of these competitors, it's the matter of almost relearning some of these corners, especially since in previous years it was the opposite direction in terms of how they approach this track. So for many of these competitors, it's been an interesting process to see how they've been able to adapt, be able to learn as time has gone on here for many of these competitors to figure out where those marks are and where they can find the speed compared to last year, where you might have more different passing opportunities compared to here.
Hunter, I'm going to bring you up here as well. I want to take a look at something interesting that I saw. Danny just kind of rolled up onto the grid here as well. And look at all the padding as well in Danny's seat. Danny, I'll actually ask you about it, right? Last year, you did one of the practice sessions. This year, you kind of see a lot of the padding on the backside of your seat here. Explain a little bit that for the viewers at home.
Yeah, no, I've lost a lot of weight this season, actually running with lead on the seat, so a little bonier in the back section. And, yeah, I was bleeding quite aggressively yesterday after the heat races, so Gary, myself, my mechanic Diego, and everyone just trying to figure out how we could pad up the seat. I don't use a roof protector, never have, and never will. So, yeah, trying to keep me alive. I have a big race next weekend in Road America, so it's not hurting, but it's pretty big cut in the back.
There you go. Well, good to see you. You kind of found a solution, and we'll hope you feel better. Obviously, the pace was good for you yesterday, right?
Yeah, no, pace has been fantastic. We're just working on the long stint for the 20-lap final, where it matters, where it counts. So that's the plan, and we're going to give it all.
Good luck, Danny.
Thank you.
There you guys have it. Again, interesting, right, of how physical this racetrack has been. And again, Danny looking great, right? The suit kind of fit a little looser than I guess it used to, if you will, but still a big guy here and still giving us some great racing action, Justin.
Yeah, and Danny Vermel was very quick yesterday in terms of overall pace. Was able to keep up the front, was able to battle out for positions. Honestly, at some points, looked to be in contention for the race win, especially with the pre-final with what he showcased there. So I think for Vermel, he's got a lot of opportunities today to be able to disrupt a little bit of those in the championship fight, because he's here for a win. He's here to try and pick up the W for GFC. For him, it's about, can he perform the best out of what drivers have here and what he's got to be able to be up at the front.
Yeah, and again, yesterday, AJ Myers, the number 3 for Magic Kart Machine, was one of the faster drivers, right? Put himself up at the front again, lost the second heat race to Mateus Morgado, but by the looks of it, by kind of our calculations here, he is set to start on the pole position for their pre-final, if you will, more of a super heat format with averages of all 3 of their races. So we'll see. Engines are fired, so we'll give them a second to roll out here. I can do it. Last couple of karts now rolling out onto the track. And Justin, right, talking about the championship battles that we've seen in this pro shifter class throughout the years, every time I think that we've seen a championship here, a kart that's red has always been in the fight, right? This year, Jay Irwin, Mateus Morgado. Last year, Mateus Morgado was able to get the championship. The year before that, in 2023, Marian Kremers was able to get himself a championship. And to my knowledge, I believe 2022 was as well a championship year for Marian Kremers. So, again, with that being said, we'll take a moment here to take a look back at what we saw, what we've seen in this pro shifter class throughout the years, from, I would say, the building stages of it to now where we are with 42 drivers here this weekend. 42 drivers. It's been 40 plus almost all year long in the pro shifter category. And I remember back to last year when we were here in 2024, and you see the grid, everybody line up, drivers from all around the world. But again, we talked about it. The team that's been up there every single year of PSL karting, and it all started back in 2022 whenever, I guess you could say, a fellow American now, Dutchman, Marian Kremers, came over to the States, was racing with PSL karting, and he was able to keep himself up at the front at NOLA Motorsports Park. It was one of the first times we saw him race in the pro shifter category.
Yeah, able to showcase some strong speed. He's a big name after all when it comes to the style of racing in terms of his performances. And that carried over right in terms of the rest of the schedule when it comes to the SKUSA side of things with what he was able to utilize. Especially when it comes to the racing cars. Zillage was amongst the drivers in the NOLA race. Had finished third in that respective race, mind you. That's how much time has flown by. Kart Zillage now a NASCAR driver in the Xfinity Series and likely in the Cup Series the next year or so as well. So overall, it's been, for Marian Kremers, a stellar ride in the past couple of years, especially on speed.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good, right? We kind of miss him over here in the States. We saw him last year making his transition over to the Rawson Performance Group, kind of translating over to what he's been running overseas in Europe with the Tony Kart official team. But again, every year it's been PSL up at the front end. This year, right? Jay Irwin, Mateus Morgado, they're two drivers that were in the championship fight. Morgado was, I really think his hopes are kind of slipping away after the crash he had in that first heat race. It's a long shot for Mateus now at this point. But even then, right, they always seem to find themselves up at the front. And that's a testament, right, to Dominic, to that entire team with their engine package, with their development of the shifter chassis as well everything going on in Europe with Ronnie Sala, and you see everything kind of build as well. While we're on the topic of PSO karting, their Masters driver, Jordan Musser, was able to get the win yesterday. Jordan, have a quick word with you here this morning. A great day for you yesterday right here at Newcastle. A win to your name. How's the package been for you guys this weekend?
It's hard to complain after a result like yesterday, but it's been good. I'm actually running the chassis pretty much standard. It's more about dealing with the track condition changes. We have cool in the morning and sticky. We have rubber being laid down better. Then all of a sudden it gets hot and greasy, and then the rains. So we've seen a little bit of everything. I think that's the trick, is staying top of what the track's doing.
How hard has it been to kind of stay on top of it? Like you said, it's been so fastly changing throughout the day yesterday.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of my time on the data with Lucas and the PSL team and focusing on where Morgado is finding speed where I'm not. There's even one section where I'm quicker than him. So we're all working together to get faster, and that's how I'm getting a lot of the advancement, is actually in the driving this weekend and learning to adapt to these changing conditions.
There you go. Thank you, Jordan.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Very insightful from Jordan as well. Again, really good point, right? You kind of, every time you hit the racetrack and the shifter ranks, you find yourself with a new racetrack, with a different condition, with a different temperature, with a different amount of rubber that's been laid down on the racetrack, Justin.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a part of what the teams have to adapt to and the drivers have to adapt to in terms of what they have in terms of setup, in terms of what they have in terms of how they're going to attack the track. And that's such the importance emphasized by Musser in terms of adaptability, ability to be able to adjust to whatever changes around you, and that's so critical when it comes to this weekend here too, since we've had so many different conditions for the drivers in the first place.
Yeah, checkered flag waves now for the pro shifter drivers. We'll see them have two races as well later on today, with their pre-final coming your way next. And again, for those of you at home, do not forget to become a Casey Premium member for only $9.99 a month. It's just cheaper than anything out there. But that being said, we'll take our first commercial break of the morning. We'll be right back with more of our morning show here, Justin. We'll be right back. up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent. Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
Alex Stanfield played it perfectly here, told him to wait. Stanfield wins the Duffy in 2024 for TV Kart.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park, and we continue with our morning coverage here. We'll continue to talk to more drivers. Our KA seniors now rolling onto the grid. One of the ones that I want to talk to here today, back on the podium, a good win for him out in Salem, Ohio, not too long ago. Colin Lloyd, yesterday, a second-place finish for you, right? It looked like you were closing down on the straightaways, but there was just something there, right, that I think just you couldn't get ahead of Diego. Talk about that. What was that? What did you guys kind of miss?
Just felt like we missed a little bit of bottom end in the engine. Diego had a really good kart, really good engine. Feel like we're really close, just need a little bit more, but we'll test today and see how it does.
So again, I want to take you back to the start of the year, right? I would say it was a slow start on a new package, on a new program for you, right? What's kind of changed? What's really been, the learning process for you to be up to speed these past two national weekends?
Just kind of learning the new driving style of a stiffer chassis. Testing new stuff, just trying new things, trying some crazy stuff and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't, and doing a lot of test days, renting the track, stuff like that.
Well, there you go. It seems like it's working out. So great job from your side, Colin, and you got one more shot at it today here on Sunday.
Yep, thank you.
There you guys have from Colin Lloyd. The 913, again, looking to get himself a couple of spots better here later on today. One of the drivers that we haven't talked to yet today is actually James Overbeck and the great 2024 season that he's had. And I'm actually now looking for him. I know there's two groups here in KA Senior, maybe. We'll let Connor Ferris roll by. And again, looking for James Overbeck. He actually just rocked up to the grid, the number 1 plate. That was your KA Senior champion from last year. Our production boys got us walking this morning. Justin must be set. We're rolling our way back to the back of the grid here. Here's James. He's now rolling up the number 1. And this is actually different. For those of you at home that watch our coverage very often, James Overbeck never wears his black suit. Very superstitious. But this weekend, that's the question I'm curious to ask here this weekend. James, I know you're definitely hearing me right now. So what's changed for you? The black suit here this weekend, I think the first time we've seen you wear it since Dowsman, Wisconsin in last year.
Well, I didn't have an option because my other one broke. So, but it's unfortunate that the other one broke, but oh well. doesn't really matter. Try not to focus about it and just focus on trying to win.
I want to take you back to 2024, right? You did a lot of just that. You did a lot of winning in 2024. This year, I mean, it's been a good year for you guys on the KA Senior package. You come in with a long shot this weekend, right? And I know yesterday probably wasn't the best of days considering your standards. You know, talk a little about your weekend up to this point, and sum up yesterday for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't bad, but we weren't great either. Definitely, it's kind of been the same thing all year in almost every round of Pro Tour. We've been bad in qualifying, not had a great pre-final, but then we're really fast in the final. So, honestly, I blame some of that on me. I don't feel like I've done the best driving-wise, and I don't think we've been working well enough as a team to figure out what the right setup is, what the right gear ratio is, and we've always just been missing that little piece, and we finally seemed to find it by the final. But, yeah, we were really fast yesterday. I know sucks that Diego's already won the championship, but good for him. He deserves it. It's been really fun racing against some of the guys that normally run X30, Race K, which is really fun and challenged me even more. So, so we'll see what we can do today. Best thing to do is just go out on top with a win.
Well, there you go. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll let you get ready for your warm-up session.
Thank you.
There you go, from James Overbeck, number 1 plate. Sadly, won't be staying with him, but again, just looking for that last little bit, Justin. And that's interesting to hear as well, because the margins are very, very small, very minimal here. And again, it could be, you know, a pound of tire pressure, half a pound of tire pressure. It could be a lot, right? That can really, you know, make things a little bit harder, if you will.
Yes, indeed. It's all about, for some of these drivers, it might be the difference on just how the spacing is out between the tires in terms of the axle adjustments, in terms of maybe the teeth of the gearing, anything along those lines. Could be those small differences in terms of setup that might be that differential of winning and losing a race. And for some of these teams, they've been trying to get that top end speed at the back end of the straightaway. For example, that long straightaway coming up to turn 18 is where a lot of cases you need to be able to have a lot of speed. It's going to be interesting, to say the very least, though, where a lot of these teams may have tuned or adjusted something for yesterday, or which teams may be comfortable with staying where they're at with what they've been able to find. We'll have to see as the day goes on here.
Yeah, checkered flag is out for our master shifters. KA Senior now getting set to roll out. The 1 minute board engines will be fired, Justin, and that's our cue to take a little break talking-wise, right, from our side, and we'll continue to bring you guys all the shots, right, all the helmets. You kind of look at, a lot of drivers have had a couple of new lids, new designs. One of the big new ones I see Ben Gaunt here at the front of the grid with us. New helmet for him here this weekend. So, again, keeps us on our toes, having to identify these drivers a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner, right? But even then, we continue to look on the drivers here on the grid. Ruben Moya, Spanish Salmon, one of the drivers that you were on the call for yesterday. X30 for him. I would say not the best of luck in the rain, and again, he didn't make much noise in the main event. But KA Senior, I mean, he was finding himself, I would say, up inside of the top 10.
Yeah, he was in a decent spot inside the top 10, but he was also having to scratch and claw in the first place just to hold on to some of the positions. He was having a lot of people pressurizing him from behind in the early going. Moy had lost some ground early, had to recover that ground in the later stages. And in terms of a driver, that can potentially be a difficult thing, knowing you've got the speed. You might have something set up for the long run instead, and it takes a while for the kart to get up to that long run tire pressure, and you end up having to push to be able to regain.
Have a look here at CGL, Chase Gassey at Lee. We're going to be running alongside him all day today, just like we did yesterday on the Coastal Link Racing EOS kart. And again, he was finding himself in some good battles, kept us interested as well throughout the day yesterday. 1 minute board now going up in the air. Engines are fired. So engines are fired, and we are out onto the racetrack now. Looks like actually a couple of drivers have issues here. I'll make sure we're off the side, boys. Here's the 971 GFC machine working their way out. That's Leslie. And one more. Looks like maybe one of the Mike Doty racing machines. That's at the back, and they're actually putting it back up on the kart stand. So they're not going to be able to continue here today, Justin. Nonetheless, X30 Junior now rolling onto the grid. We talked to Ashton Mooney yesterday on the day he had. And again, his story, pretty cool, right? 4 years in a row throughout all classes, micro, mini, X30 Junior now, where he's able to capitalize and get himself into the winner's circle. And we'll wait as they come by. Alexander Vanchuk, one of the drivers we want to talk to, who's been so good here in the X30 Junior class. I would say throughout all the junior classes this year, Justin.
Yes, indeed. I think so as well, absolutely. And looking back to Loon in general, he's been quick for 4 consecutive years in terms of whenever you put him in. He's been mightily consistent. It's always impressed me when it comes to his speed on the long run, his ability to battle and make smart moves. In his case, going to be the matter of can he keep it up today to make it a double win in his regard here with what's been a strong weekend so far for Ashton Loon.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this class has grown so much throughout the years, Justin. This is kind of, I would say, a lot like the shifter class where we saw, I would say, smaller numbers throughout the years, right? But this year in 2025, you know, people have come out here to race pretty much, needless to be said, but even then, we continue to move on. And again, I'll bring our guy Hunter over here as well, so we can get some interviews here in the morning as well. Again, a couple of drivers that we've seen race and throughout the year. Joining us here again, a couple of the notables as well. Lucas Palacio made his return here this year into racing action here in the States. And again, wait for Alexander as well to work his way onto the grid. But while we're at it, why don't we talk to the Kart Republic driver here this morning, Justin, of Lucas is working his way up, and I'm speed walking right now to get myself up here. Real quick, Lucas, while you're getting ready, I don't want to waste any of your time, but yesterday, tricky conditions for you guys, right? Rain, it was kind of mixed with dry and wet. You found yourself in the grass, I think, at the end of the main event. Talk about your day yesterday and the progression for you guys as well.
I mean, I didn't get a good qualifying. I was 7th. In the pre-final, I made a couple of mistakes that cost me. But, yeah, today I'll just improve on those, and, yeah, I'll try to get the win.
Just fine-tuning from here on out?
Yeah.
There you go, Lucas. Best of luck.
Thank you.
There you guys have it from Lucas Palacio. And again, for him, just fine-tuning, like you heard him say. We'll continue to wait for a couple of more to work their way up here. Justin, this class, again, has grown so much throughout the years, needless to be said. Yeah, wait for a couple of more as they continue to roll on here, Justin.
Yes, indeed. Everybody just working as fast as they can to be able to get onto this racetrack. And for a lot of these team members, it's just a matter, I think, of just making sure the final checks for their drivers all set to go, making sure they're up to speed on what they have to do, make sure all the safety equipment is in, including in the Hans device, essentially, that they put around that cart. But Alexander Vanchuk is definitely a name that's going to be some of the talk about here.
Yeah, Alex, we'll talk to you real quick while you're getting ready. And as well, I know you need to put your GoPro in, right? But struggle day for you yesterday on the X30 side of things. Talk to us about it a little bit.
Yeah, so just not our day. We struggled with the kart a little bit, or not a little bit, kind of a lot. But now we made lots of changes overnight, and I think I'm ready to get out there, and claim my championship.
That was my next question, right? It got a lot closer. Action got the win yesterday. What do you need to do to double up here in championships in the junior categories?
I think a top 5 finish in both the pre-final and final would pretty much guarantee it. But obviously, I'm always trying to win, and you know that's my pace, and that's what I hope to do.
Best of luck, Alex.
Thank you.
There you guys have it from the driver who was leading the championship yesterday as well. Not too sure on the points. I think that's more of a question for Emery. I was never good at math. Still not good in my years in college here, Justin, but even then, we'll continue to update you guys on the championship battles. All of them super close. A lot of them still alive. I think the only one that we've seen pretty much wrapped up has really been the KA Senior. And again, But the wrenches we saw thrown in Pro X30, X30 Junior as well with Vanchev, like he said, not having the best of days on the Saturday. And Ashton Woon, right, his main competitor, second place. He's found himself with good pace. And again, a win to his name already at the end of yesterday. We'll wait for them to roll out here. Again, checkered flag, last couple of KE seniors working their way in. I see as well the 1 minute board getting set to go out. But while we wait a little bit, let's interview a couple of others. Young lady, Sarah Bradley here, in front of the grid. Real quick here, Sarah. How's your weekend been up to this point?
It's been pretty good. I've been pretty fast, just really trying to work to get that win. I've been in the top 5 pretty much all weekend, so hopefully today's the day.
There you go. Wish you luck. I see we're ready to go. Lorenko Varela, unfortunately, the driver who was the last to work his way out onto the grid. And again, huge number of drivers in X30 Junior here today. We'll talk to a couple of the Mini Swift drivers as well here today. Talk to one driver actually making his return to the States here this weekend. Different colors for him on the Nitro Kart machine. Colton Schniegenberg, first of all, I should say, welcome back to the U.S. Well, you were with us last weekend in the state of Texas, but how's your return been here this weekend? How's the weekend been up to this point for you?
It's been good. We just had a couple motor problems, but I feel like today could be a better day than yesterday, and I like being back in the States.
For those people who don't know you or you know, not familiar with you, tell them a little bit about kind of what you've been doing overseas as well with the World Racing Team.
I go to Europe and I race in Europe. It's a lot more grippy there, and when you come back here, it's a lot different.
There you go. Well, how, you know, what's been different? Has it been, you know, not as grippy, you would say, here at Newcastle this weekend?
No, this track is actually getting a lot of grip, so I'm surprised, and I'm used to the driving like this.
There you go. Well, I'm sure you're used to the rain racing as well a little bit yesterday in Mini, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
There you go. Hoping for a little bit more today?
What?
Hoping for a little bit more rain today?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, I'm not sure if you're going to get it or not, Colton. We'll wish you good luck as well here later on today. Again, good to see Colton back with us. And again, we talked about X30 Junior a whole lot before they went out into the racetrack. One of the drivers that's had, you know, one of the best years, if you want to say the junior driver of the year, Alexander Vanchev. And again, this year has been a breakout year for him. You look back to the start of the year, right? A lot of race wins and a lot of times where he's found himself with inconsistency. To me, this is really the first weekend where we've seen him on the back foot, where we've seen him at the back of the field, Justin. But again, you've talked a lot about this kid and the drives that he's had so far this year, right? He's close to doubling up here today.
Yes, indeed. And so far when it comes to Vanchev, remember he started off the season in Houston by absolutely dominant force to the point where he was able to stand up and celebrate for a victory. The second race was a little bit closer, obviously, where he had a lot more people keeping up with him, where he had to battle to be able to take the lead from some of his fellow teammates. But it was also a drive where he was able to control the field once he got up front. Cincinnati is kind of the same situation here too, where by that time he got out to MCC, he had that same amount of ability like he did the first time out in Houston to be able to run away from the pack, be able to consistently put down laps, have long run. But the last race with the incident that sparked things to the back of the field, ended up having contact, that put him towards the back, and now it's going to be the matter today on trying to avoid it being like the last race at MCC, where he was towards the back. And now, today, it's the matter of can he get to the front and make sure he has a solid starting position to make sure he doesn't have to start from the 20s or the 30s like yesterday.
Yeah, and again, right, championship contender as well. Ashton Woon. You look at the difference of the two stories, right? You have Vanchev, who's a seasoned junior driver who's seen him throughout the years progress. And on the other side, rookie, fresh off a great end to his mini Swift career, now hopping into the full-size categories. Ashton Woon, on a day where he really needs to perform, much like his teammate in Austin Garrison, right? Finds himself up at the front, and you have a little bit of both. Austin Garrison, Pro X30, Ryan Norberg, Pro X30, Junior, Speed Concepts Racing, Rawlison Performance Group, and that's been the story, I think, for a couple of years now, right? Those two teams, if you will, the powerhouses of single-speed racing here in the United States. That's just to set the stage a little bit as well for those of you at home and for those of you, again, watching on this weekend here from the paddock. We'll continue to wait here. More and more drivers rolling in. We'll wait for Enzo Di Janeiro as well, who's working his way out onto the grid. And we'll continue to talk to a couple of more. Why don't we talk to one driver right here, Hunter? Lawrence Perriman, actually. It was a good start to the day, I would say, yesterday. Main event didn't go your way. What do you need to change today?
Well, today I'm going to put my mind to it. Going to make less mistakes and hopefully finish better.
There you go. Wish you good luck, Lawrence.
Thank you so much.
Continue to move on. Your winner yesterday was Enzo Di Janeiro as well. We'll talk to him as he rolls his way out. We'll follow him up to the front of the grid here. But needless to be said, Enzo had a good day yesterday, and what a day for the Paralympic team as well. Maxwell Macha putting himself in second. Again, he's progressed a whole lot as well this year, putting himself up at the front. So the two Paralympic drivers have worked really well together this year. Come by here with Enzo real quick. Checkered flag in the air. Enzo, quick word here really quickly, because we didn't get an interview yesterday for your race win. Talk about the day for you yesterday, ending in the best way possible, right?
It was a great day. Qualifying wasn't the best, but I think in the pre-final I really put my head down, get a good spot on the grid, and then me and Max just pushed away, and then it was a good race.
Who made it possible for you guys under the Paralympics? And I know you guys have a huge support as well. I said, who made it possible for you guys under the Paralympics? And who would you like to thank for your race victory yesterday?
I would like to thank my dad, all my sponsors, Paralympic Motorsports, Ultra Engines, and I'd like to thank everybody under that tent and everybody that supported me yesterday.
There you go. Congrats, Enzo.
Thank you.
There you guys have it from your winner yesterday, Enzo Di Janeiro, as well. Great day for him yesterday. We'll work our way to the front of the grid as well here before our mini Swift drivers get set to fire here for their race. But, for their warm-up session, I should say, here this morning. But needless to be said, keep an eye out on them. And again, yesterday, important, right? This track, I think, we talked about how important the draft was around this place. Except for one, who's now working his way up here to the front of the grid, looking to roll off now. So we'll move over to the side as well. Let that driver get fired here and get going. And he is away. That looks to be the 171 Maranello machine that actually just stalled on the grid, unfortunately, but nonetheless, they'll get him refired. But here in the Mini Swift class, Justin, we talked about how close this championship is, right? Start of the year, first couple of rounds maybe didn't go to the best for Enzo Di Gennaro, but heading into this weekend, we have a three-way fight for the championship. And again, that's been one of the biggest things that we've seen. We'll take a look at that as well later on with the drivers in contention for that one. But yeah, nonetheless, Wayne Gottschalk, who we've seen be super busy overseas in Europe, comes back here and he's raced the entire year with us here at the SKUSA Pro Tour. And again, he's one of the drivers in the mix. We talk about Enzo Di Gennaro, our winner yesterday, also finds himself in that championship fight. We talked to him just now on their grid. And for Nitro Kart as well, Jaden Francisco, the Canadian, that driver has been really consistent all year long. He's had good results and he's kept himself up at the front. And talking a little bit to a couple of drivers, to a couple of our pro drivers as well, they said you don't have to go out there and win every single race. You need to beat the drivers that you're racing in the championship. That doesn't necessarily mean winning the race. But again, if you look at what we saw yesterday with Di Gennaro and a couple of others, you need to put yourself within a good spot, within a shot at least. But consistency, that's been the key all year long here, Justin.
Yes, indeed. And Francisco has had the consistency of podiums just about the entire season. That's why he's in the championship fight, on top of the fact he's won some races. But Enzo Di Gennaro able to strike back as of late, to be able to have that last run yesterday, to be able to boost ahead was a big thing. Gottschalk, mind you, the reason he was in the championship conversation is what he did down in Cincinnati, with what he was able to do performance-wise in his Bennett, to be able to keep up, and better yet, to be able to try and contend for race wins. So it could go either direction, really. Here today, you would have to think, depending on the drop, Di Gennaro has it without it comfortably by a few points. But it's going to be interesting, to say the very least, where do these drivers stack up by the end of the day? I know these drivers are going to be happy to see, can they become a SKUSA champion by being the most consistent, be able to build their career from that point forward.
Yeah, we'll talk to a couple of drivers here as well. Ruben Moya was one of the ones that we haven't talked to yet. But talk about yesterday, right? The rain, I really don't think maybe went the way that you would have wanted, right? Talk a little about that heat rate at the pre-final, if you must, in the final for you yesterday.
Well, in the pre-final, we were aiming for the win, and then another driver just pushed me off, so I had nothing to do. We were all around the outside. He decided to go inside, and he just smashed me off. I bent the axle, I break the rim, so I didn't spine myself. So, well, it was not nice because it was the last lap, so he didn't need that. But anyway, it's what it is.
Talk about today, right? In the drive, did you guys learn anything, after the Friday and the Thursday that you guys did spend here?
I mean, we were fast, and then after the warm-up, when we changed to the race style, we lost all our speed. We changed everything on the car. Still no grip, sliding everywhere, no front, no rear, nothing. So we will see today in the warm-up if we go fast again. It means that there were the tires, so we will hope the Sunday tires are better.
Wish you better luck today.
Thank you.
There you guys have Ruben Moya. And again, you hear from him just a little bit, right? Just looking for a little bit more. We'll talk to a couple of more down here, Hunter, as well, as we get rolling. One driver we haven't talked to, actually, our most recent winner, Gus Lawrence. First of all, I must say, welcome back to the States here this weekend. I know you're probably going to be joining us for the rest of the year as well, but nonetheless, how's the weekend been for you, right? I know rainy conditions, a lot to kind of what you're used to right in the UK.
Yeah, for sure. When it was wet on slicks, I was a bit more comfortable. Obviously, I made a few mistakes myself and dropped it off the track, but to go from 10th to 4th, I was happy with that. Obviously, I had a nose cone penalty, so that pushed me back. In the dry, probably not as competitive as I'd like to be. Definitely missing a little bit to the speed guys. So, see how we go this morning.
Checker flag's about to fly, and I'll let you get ready here, Gus. So appreciate your time as well. And again, we'll keep an eye on a couple of others. Again, more drivers just getting ready here before we get going. Checker flag is waving. I'll take a moment to talk to one more, actually, here. Jake Drew, a driver who started, I believe, in the third row, fourth row, around there, right? But even then, the race didn't end the way you would have wanted. You slid back to the 10th spot. And I want to talk to you a little bit, right? Because you're within a shot of entering the Champions of Circles. You're on the edge, right? And a good points day for you yesterday. Talk about your guys' package going into Sunday?
Yeah, we just got to keep our head in it, keep doing the best we can. We keep tweaking it, dialing it in as best we can. I wouldn't mind a little bit of rain. I like how it stirred everything up yesterday, and I like those conditions a bit more right now. So, but at the end of the day, we're all working our butts off. Super happy for the opportunity from GFC, Formula Works, and everybody that's involved in DN Engines. Got a great piece. I just need to take it to the front.
There you go. Good luck, Jake.
Thank you.
That's actually funny to hear, Justin, right? A lot of drivers kind of saying they want a little bit of rain. It mixed things up. It threw a wrench in things, right? How do your if you will, your usual suspects that are racing up at the front just kind of slip back or whatnot? But even then, right, they hoping for a little bit more. And I see it starts to get a little cloudy again. But even then, we'll take a look as well as this day goes on. But take a look at the back of the grid. Yesterday's winner, the number 6 of Austin Garrison. And again, looking for his first SKUSA Pro Tour championship here this weekend, Justin. We've talked about it time and time again, right? He became a champion last year at the United States Pro Kart Series at this very track in 2024. That was his first in single speed ranks. But this year at the SKUSA Pro Tour, he's looking to become a first-time Pro X30 champion. And yesterday I said it, right? That was my first question in the interview. A championship drive out of Garrison yesterday. He needs another one here today to take over the number 1 spot.
Yeah, he needs a near perfect day, I think, to say the very least, because when we seen the points breakdown, it was basically a pretty final victory in a top 3 essentially for Norberg, with the drop would be where he would need to be just about on the points tally. So in our words for Garrison, focus has to be simple. Get the win first of all in the pre-final. Take away that opportunity for the max points day right then and there, or for the top opportunity, and then try and perform for the win. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and actually, interesting enough, I asked Jake Cheer about the winner's circle, and sadly for him, if you will, sadly, or one of the interesting things about that battle for that, if you will, the circle of champions, it's GFCs all fighting for that spot. If I'm correct here, I believe it's Chase Hand also looking to get himself into the top 10. Jake Drew, one of those drivers. I'm not sure if Jesus Vasquez as well is one of the ones that is down there closer to the bottom of the top 10. But even then, that battle, it's going to be close. And they find themselves 10th, 11th, and 13th with drops here. And again, it's the biggest thing. They're going to roll out here. Take a quick break. That being said, Justin, right, a lot of stories in this Pro X30 class. We have Warm Up coming our way next, but to kind of cap things off here, right, for a lot of drivers this year, there's been a couple of struggles. Jake Drew is one of those, right? In Pro X30, it's been I would say a package where he struggled this year, and again, along with Chase Hanna, and this weekend they've really done a good job. And one of the biggest things was the fact that they've been here before. Jake Drew raced here last year with Formula Works, and we saw his drive through the field. Was down in the 20th, got himself all the way up to second, and almost within a shot to the win. He was actually within a shot to the win, and unfortunately a mistake by him at the end of it put him on the back foot. But again, we've seen his progression. We saw everything come together at the United States Pro Kart Series not too long ago whenever we were in Wisconsin. And again, that meant a whole lot to him. We had him on our show at the end of the week, or at the start of the week, if you will. And this weekend himself, Chase Hand, they've had, a weekend where it's been better. It's been a lot better. Both of them slid backwards in the main event, but even then, they're looking for whatever they can find here in dry conditions. They were happy about the rain. And speaking of Chase's dad, actually, Joey said, this is a little bit like the NASCAR Cup Series, right? This is Pro X30 now. It used to just be a name. Now it's an actual thing. Now you have drivers coming out here week after week to be a part of this, to race in this field. Now it's pro, right? With everything that's given at the end of the year with the Circle of Champions, that's a huge testament to the work Tom Kutcher has done, to the entire SKUSA Pro Kart Series has done. So a huge shout out to them. But again, on the other side of things, that's one of the battles that we have for the Circle of Champions. On the other side, two kids that have been racing against each other for their entire lives almost. Ryan Norberg, Austin Garrison. They find themselves locked in another championship battle, Speed Concepts RPG.
And they've been battling since the start of the season, where they've gone back and forth. In Houston, they went back and forth for the race lead several times over. They just continuously kept fighting side by side, crossover for crossover, move after move in the second last corner at Speedsport. And then that kind of set things up for Cincinnati, where even when you throw into the mix Gus Lawrence, who was a factor in one of those 2 days, they just battled it out back and forth, back and forth. They were attached at the hip, even for the battles for second. So for the entire weekend here so far, this is the first time they've really been not attached to each other, and it's kind of been a who's who on who's going to be able to finish where they need to finish. And now it's going to be the question, will today end up seeing them battling out for the race wins yet again, like we've seen the trend, or will there be some separation between the two of them where there may be some issues yet again that see them have to battle with attrition? It's going to be an interesting thing to say at the very least. I think Austin and Cincinnati in particular, when it comes to the battling there in that trend with what we see in Cincinnati, I think we're going to see somewhere to something like that again here today.
Yeah, you look back to Cincinnati, a drag race all the way to the line. Ryan Norberg able to get the better of Garrison by a couple of thousands of seconds, right? Again, Austin wasn't happy about that. Frankie Mossman actually just rolled out. Scared the daylights out of me here. Goodness gracious there, Justin. Good thing he's out, and I'm sure I'll talk to him about that later. But even then, you look at the second race, right? A penalty for Austin at the end of it puts himself on the back foot. Unfortunate there for Austin, but even then, he answered today, right? Had that answer today, got himself up to the front. And again, those two, they're going to find themselves up at the front of this field. You heard from Gus Lawrence there a little bit, and we heard a little bit from Ryan as well yesterday, where he said, we're still missing a little bit compared to the Speed Concepts racing drivers, right? SCR has been fast. They've had the upper hand here. Austin, this direction won here, I believe, 2 years ago, and as well was quick here last year. As well whenever we were here throughout various of the national scenes. But even then, we'll keep an eye on both of them. We'll take a close look because it all comes down to today. There's nothing better than coming into Sunday at the SKUSA Pro Kart Championship, at the SKUSA Pro Tour, if you will, round number 6, dead even on championship points, not having an idea of who's going to come away with the number 1 plate at the end of it. Checkered flag in the air. It's all coming your way. Next, qualifying. First up.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I went to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion, Qualy Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Attention Superkarts USA drivers. Be sure to order your complete photo package from On Track Promotions. All drivers receive a minimum of 40 photos from throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with instant access from our automated delivery system. Visit otp.ca right now to get instant access to your photos.
On-track activity continues here from Newcastle Motorsports Park with warm-up in the books. It's time to set the grids for the second day of action for all the double-duty classes here at the SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals. Justin, down on the grid with Caleb. You guys were able to cover a lot of ground and now going all the way back to the top of the batting order here with KA 100 Junior presented by TKG Beer Art USA. What stands out to you here compared to what we saw yesterday, compared to what you guys were able to figure out and get some intel down on the ground?
Well, compared to yesterday, when it comes to what we've seen, I think for a lot of these teams, it's now they know somewhat some of the expectation. They expect that it's going to be a very hot track, and a lot of people expect the surface to get very greasy feeling as this run goes on here today, especially with the expected to be very hot conditions. As Caleb said, he was carrying around one of those radar guns that are able to detect the temperature of the racing surface. It was already in the 80+ degree range earlier this morning. And that's only going to get hotter in spots as these karts run on the track and as the sun beats down on it. I think that's going to be one of the major factors here today, is going to be those conditions where it gets hotter. Obviously, yesterday the rain changed a lot of the way things went, but today it's about the sunshine. It's going to be more so, I think, the focus today.
No doubt. Today looks like the perfect day to close out a championship fight, right? It's picture perfect skies, massive grids, and hopefully we've got ourselves some cleaner racing to start the day. Yesterday was extended by quite a bit. The SuperKarts USA team did a fantastic job of trying to manage all the red flag delays that we had in this class to start. It was a rocky start for them right off the rip. It all started right here at the end of the first lap, starting lap number 2 with a massive spin out of the lead group at the end of that major straightaway. And again, that's somewhat blind. You can see around the corner pretty well. It's pretty flat down there, but you know, when you're in a pack of this size, like what we're watching on screen, you're focused on the karts around you and maybe aren't always looking way down the racetrack, especially some of the inexperienced drivers that may find themselves a little bit further back in the field. And it was just a dog pile that eventually blocked the track. Thankfully, all drivers were okay, and we've got here already 22 turning laps so far in qualifying for TKGK Junior. First of the group so far, Drew Jensen on the Nash Motorsports entry. The 858 at a 73.524 sets the initial pace. We're following the first few drivers. These are including Drew himself, along with Ethan Sky Manuchik at the front of this pack in that black and blue Rocket Racing Company machine. That were all just a bit off the pace of the front runners on Friday practice, so they have to go out first here for qualifying and set the initial times, while the top 20 or so from Friday happy hour will get to go out second. Now, you typically will lose 1 or 2 over the course of a weekend, but if the math is showing, it would put us at only 45 or 44 drivers that would be out on the racetrack in total for KA Junior. From the 48 drivers sold out field, this class is sold out every event of the 2025 SKUSA Pro Tour. It's had massive growth, massive numbers, and it's been that way for many years now, but this year especially, it's been a hot ticket to be able to be on the grid. You have to enter early, and for those following along at home, if you're looking to race this division at the SuperKarts USA Super Nationals, it will more than likely get extended to 88, but every class is starting at a 44 maximum, and the entry for everyone will open once this weekend concludes. July 31st, SKUSA Super Nationals entries will be open to the world, an event that has only grown over the last, over all of the 27 iterations to this point. A 30-year decorated history that's seen the likes of F1 World Champions, IndyCar champions, NASCAR champions, and any other motorsport discipline in between all cut their teeth and continue to compete in the event. Who knows who we'll get for star power there this year, but at least in terms of the internal karting world, that star power that we've seen has now bled over to the SKUSA Pro Tour, to this class. Many of the kids you'll see on the grid here today will have an international calendar of their own, and it's already a very international grid. But for this group at least, It's an All-American top couple. Ethan Sky Manuchik out of Florida, now to the top at a 72.8. Jackson Baldus out of Texas into second. Braden Wagner in third. I should correct myself, out of the greater Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana region here. A regular in our Texas Sprint Racing Series events. Braden Wagner from the West Coast. Drew Jensen as well. Derek Wargo out of Metairie, Louisiana. Rounds the top 5, all close in times. That means this fourth and final lap is going to be probably another big shuffle because there wasn't a lot of movement in the pack here, Justin. Here we go out of I-70. This will be the big run. Who gets the nice toe to try and jump up the board? A couple more spots, slot up a little better. Leading the entire pack here is Baldus on that lime green and yellow Holtz D.D. Gillard.
Yeah, so far, these drivers, in terms of where they are in the session, as the checker flag now waves, are about 7/10 back of where the fastest times were yesterday. Looks like Manichek so far already having a decent benchmark, at least that would put him around midfield at the minimum. Now, the big thing is the fast group was running as fast as 1:12.1s yesterday. To be able to be up at the top of the board, 1:12.7s to be able to get in the top 10. So that benchmark is going to be all the ever higher here for this next grouping of drivers, where a lot of these competitors here will be those starting in the mid to backpack based on the timings.
So 72.821 time to beat for the fast group to hit the circuit. Ethan Sky Manuchik holds. Danny Ramirez up to second with a good final lap to close it down to a 72.83. And Max Weiland will lead the pack out. Yesterday, Alexander Vanchev had no issues going out by himself to punch a lap time. Today, it'll be Nate Golseth weaving his way to the front of the field, and he'll pick the pace up as the rest of them wait to try and line themselves up with a toe. The 826 Ryan Perry Motorsport driver, a heartbreak season has been really the story for Nathan Golseth when it comes to the 2025 SKUSA Pro Tour. Cincinnati, he had just as many laps, sadly, on the sidelines of main events as he did at the front. He had a fantastic weekend there, breaking out in qualifying specifically with a pole award. And, of course, he's gotten some hardware here in 2025. He's gotten even some major wins, but the Superkarts USA Championship hasn't been too kind to this young man. Yesterday, no different, a wreck in one of the two main events that he was competing in over in turn number 1, sidelined him. Today is a new day, though, and that's the benefit of this doubleheader format for the majority of the divisions. You wake up Sunday, and it's a fresh start as he continues to weave and bring some heat into the tires. More drivers backing off as they closed up to him. Alexander Vanchev, along with the SLA kart racing entry of Edgar Rodriguez. They want to stay back and try to toe off of Nate Golseth. He doesn't seem to mind it. He's just out there in his own world right now, still continuing to build some heat and air pressure.
Yeah, trying to see how much heat they can build up to try and maximize time here on the racetrack at the end of the session. Remember, yesterday these competitors got 3, if not 4 laps. For the most part, it was 3, but there is still that chance of an extra. So it's about trying to get the temperature, the optimal window on that curvature that you can have on temperatures right at the peak for your best possible time before it reaches the cliffing point, before it goes down on potential performance. And that's why some of these drivers will warm up their tires. Some of these drivers not liking where they are in the line, making some moves, it looks like. But it's going to be important to make sure that those tires are in the right window, optimized temperature window, once we get going here. Some people just wanting to utilize the draft. It's no one wants to lead this group right now.
This is what you avoid. The one good part of being in that first group is you don't usually see the gamesmanship we're seeing on screen right here in the fast group. And if these kids aren't careful, very quickly this session time will expire, and many of them won't get a clean lap in or even a lap maybe at full speed. But now, as tightly packed as they all are, you're going to see this side-by-side action. Gabriel Balog to the outside. The same for Kellen Berghofer back there in the Nash Motorsports entry. Shuffled back, trying to find a new gap here to reset. But you're that far back in the group, and they're all bumper to bumper like this, like with Max Weiland there in the 818, you're at the mercy of everyone in front of you. Anyone making a pass or going 2 and 3 wide like this, there is no hope of getting a clean lap at this point. The only thing any of these kids can do now is back all the way off behind everybody and hope that you don't run into someone on a good lap. And I think we may see some of that here when they get back down the straightaway. Edgar Rodriguez will be one of the first ones to hit the brake pedal, pull the chutes, and drop back, as now Gabriel Balog, through all of that, I believe, has gone to the front of the group.
Yeah, this is like highway traffic right now, where you end up reaching some traffic, want to pass by faster cars, you zip on by. Some prefer to run the speed limit and ends up riding in the right lane. So it's kind of a wrestling match with themselves right now. Their top times, mind you, in this session, and Centillion is currently the highest out of them, is still a 10th off the top of the board. That's how much traffic jam there is right now. This time by, I think it's going to be a lot better, since it's not 2x2 all the way through 12, 13, 14, 15, and onward. But it looks like, for the most part, everyone's figured out where they actually want to try and do something here and find some pace this time around, and for maybe the next time if there's enough time on the board. And right now, Alexander Vanchev seems to be one of those that needs to try and see where they're going to be at. Try to get very low aerodynamic change, that weight point in this draft pack. Same for the others in this group. We'll see where the times now settle on this time through, as the check flag does wave. Balog moved up. Now Katowski moving up.
And Vanchev in the wall. Contact for Alexander Vanchev to finish qualifying. He ends up in the barriers. And out of it all, Nico Katowski shuffles to the top of the pylon. Travis Pettit will go to second when it all finishes out. But Ethan Sky Manuchik and Daniel Ramirez from the slow group are going to end up third and fourth. And the points leader coming into today in both junior classes, Alexander Vanchev. Where does that put him? It's got to be deep down the order. Nathan Golset doesn't get a clean lap. He's 38th, way down. Berghofer down just in front of him in 37th. And for Vanchev, I mean, this is a terrible start to the day here in K100 Junior, a class that seemingly is a bit tougher to fight through. He's 45th. Let's see if we got a look at the replay down at the end. Final lap coming to a head. Contact between Vanchev and Nate Golseth into the first final corner. And it sends Vanchev into the wall. Nate looked like he was deep down the inside. But the 896 is going to the rear with no good laps, no clean laps put in at all. The majority of the field the same. This is a huge shakeup here, Justin.
Yeah, this is not what I was expecting at all. And that's what happens when you squabble so much and ends up costing everybody time. And the fastest times were half a second slower compared to yesterday, where it was a lot more single file for the most part throughout that session. And now we're going to see a lot of different names have a chance to be able to perform today, as they've been able to learn and had a much cleaner run in the slow group compared to the fast group. We'll have to see how the racing goes, though.
Yeah, still a lot to unpack from it all. But let's look really quickly here where the final results are. Katowski, Pettit, Manuchik, Daniel Ramirez, Matthew Cagle, Jackson Baldus. They're going to end up 5th and 6th. And I would not be surprised if there's a handful of impeding penalties to meet the KA junior drivers as well when they're in the scale line or afterwards. That'll draw the ire of many, many officials. I'm sure probably a few pushback bumpers got deployed in that session too. Behind everyone, Jose Alejandro Halfin lines up on row 4 provisionally. Isaac Malcutt and then Anthony for Amax Racing. Goodness, what a shakeup here in this 46 driver field. No sign of Jackson Elefante in Qualy or Indy Anderson. Both of those no time scored, but this is going to be a wild pre-final with a mixed grid. Some of the drivers here with maybe some speed buried in the pack. Some of the drivers that haven't shown as much pace will be starting towards the front. And fingers crossed we get them all clean here in the pre-final later today. And hopefully that alone is a lesson for the youngest superstars that are on the grid right now here in Micro Swift of what not to do in qualifying, or you'll essentially put yourself on the back foot for the entire day. A massive risk of going out around other drivers, trying to get the draft. The benefit's huge if you can take advantage of it. But again, the cost is equally devastating. So, K Junior, Qualy, a lot to check back on. Micro Swift will roll out next with the rest of the double duty classes coming up here in just a little bit.
Brandon, why are there all these charges
stop.
for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this Brandon business, okay? Brandon this, Brandon that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping. Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there? Dude, I'm doing a commercial. Dude, we have no time. It's about to start. Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR? MXC rims.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on turning, turning in the dirt.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for some Micro Swift qualifying, brought to you by Velocity Racing by Soda USA. As these drivers now work their way around the racetrack. About 13, 14 karts currently working their way around the facility. 32 starters took part yesterday. Seb Gottschalk was yesterday's pole sitter. To remind you, he was in the 116.808 second mark. It was a 1/1000th of a second difference for the pole between him and Mason Brody yesterday. Today could be a different story. Well, will definitely be a different story. It's the matter of where the story will take us here for the Sunday portion of this event here at Xander.
Yeah, yesterday was a lot more strung out than usual Micro Swift action for all of the different factors you can think of through the pre-final in Maine. And that was the story of a handful of our Saturday mains. I think probably the most tame main event batch that we had of all of the iterations of the SKUSA Pro Tour to this point. It definitely had, again, a mixed bag of results for the major contenders, but through all the different conditions the drivers were tested in, the Micros no different, right? They were the crossover class after KA Junior, and we lost a ton of them in the very first turn of the start, and that kind of set everything in motion for just a major shakeup. When you look at the championship coming into today, before the drops get factored in, there's quite a bit to break down, speaking specifically on the micro drivers. Obviously, Dutch Westbrook has had a great year. Lennox Lockhart, a fantastic season as well, but there are more drivers like Aiden Go, who appeared as the season drug on, and now have asserted themselves into the championship. And with the final day of action on tap now, as we've got 3 off. Big off in turn 3, goodness. 3 together in the first group. Lawrence Jorgensen, the main pack we were following, the 287 of Liam Astalis. Both of them stuck on the hill.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of contact to the back end of one of the orange machines, one of the Velocity Racing cars, believe, that pushed them, that led to them all stacking up together off the racing surface out of turn 3. But at the very least, I believe most will get going. They won't put up great times, obviously, but now, well, at least you still have clean karts to race on and live another day. The rest of this field, though, looking to finish out the session now in the next couple moments for their half of the grouping. Looking to be single file for the most part as they try and push each other, find some extra pace now into 16.
Yeah, here we go. Now, this again throws a wrench in the day. We saw the KA Juniors grouped up a bit too tight. No clean laps for them in the fast group. The slow group was okay. Now in the slow group for micro, session coming to a head. Cladera's time in the 2:38. Grayson Knifick, his time now a 79.83 from the lap before with the contact. Cladera obviously no clean lap, and so Hendrick Ross is able to split him up. He'll jump to P2. He had a fantastic drive in yesterday's main to move forward. Liam Astalis 4th. Jorgensen will fall to 5th. Again, both of those two were the two that could not get back going from the contact in turn 3. And I think that will hold to the end. The rest of the drivers across the line for their 3rd and final lap. Samuel Chavery, Lincoln Wiley, Leon McPhail, Trey Sanders, Carson Bishop, the top 10 provisionally. Time to beat 79.582. Velocity Racing's Caden Cladera, fastest in group number 1 for Microsoft. He doesn't even seem too happy about it. I don't know what everyone's been eating this morning, Justin. I mean, it didn't seem like it was that bad of a day to start. It's actually been a little bit cooler of a morning than yesterday with less of a threat of rain, but nobody seems to be too happy here as we're now through 3 sessions of timed qualifying and a class and a half in, and there is frustration across the board.
And the interesting thing is where the lap times are right now. Yesterday, the lap times, even for those in the slow group, were down to the 1:minute 19s, the 1:minute 20s. Usually around the 1:minute 18s was mid-pack, top of the board. Had a couple people in the 1:minute 16s. It's 1:minute 19.5s at the top end right now. Some drivers there ran down in the 1:22s. So the times, looking for these drivers a little bit more on the slower end compared to what we've seen yesterday here this morning in Microsoft qualifying. Now, it's the matter of where does the benchmark now go. Zev Godshock warming up the tires, seems to be comfortable being the Pied Piper with everyone else trying to draft off of the Benek.
So here we go. Zev Godshock with right behind a couple of JHDDs. He'll quickly pull out a line, bail out on the outlap. These kids, again, got to be careful. There were already probably a handful of impeding penalties handed out at the end of that first session. Now, will we see any more as this one goes on? So, still watching along, a pack of maybe 15, maybe 12 here in the first group. There's going to be probably some more passes and change made. Watch for the couple of drivers towards the back of the pack here. Dutch Westbrook's got himself, I think, in a decent spot. So does another one of the Benecks further back as Westbrook now tries to pull alongside Lennox Lockhart to get up to the bumper as Zev Gottschalk find his teammate. Lennox will keep them apart. Now Slate Harrell will go by. This is all of the top drivers in the championship conversation right here, trading positions back and forth in the cell tower hairpin on the first lap. And based on, again, what we saw in that first group, they're only going to get 3 timed laps in total. So throw this one in the bin already. You're going to get 2 more chances. You got to find a way to both get your tires cleaned back off if you had to go offline to pass or be passed, and not be vulnerable for lap 2. Otherwise, you'll be down to your final chance to put in a decent time and knock off Caden Cladera's 79.582.
Yeah, and that's the thing right now with a lot of these drivers. It's going to be costly in the long run. We've already talked about. But now you have some of the J. Howard development drivers taking it 3 wide down the straightaway, entering the final corner. Stoffel was amongst those taking the inside to take the run, and that might have been the smart play. That's the one area I don't mind it in, is that run from 17 to 18 because of how much time you can gain on the draft, and that just puts Stoffel to the top of the board in the 116 second bracket, rather 119.517 at the top of the board.
But it was only by just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Caden Cladera, that 3rd lap is still holding okay. Not as many passes this time by. Looking at the 4-pack coming around to the infield corner, turn number 12 on this layout. Zev Gottschalk all over Liam Francisco. They're still all so close. They're only going to go as fast as the driver in front. No one's necessarily got far enough back to maybe get a big slipstream. Maybe it'll be a good lap for Brody Stoffel. I think he'll get there a little too close to the end of the lap here and have to, again, brake a little bit earlier for this corner. Looked like he got a good exit. Let's see what the 229 can pull this time. He's got, again, teammates up the road working together. Let's watch it to the line. Gottschalk's got a nice tow back up to Francisco to close the lap off. Lockhart at the back of this group. They're all going to populate to the top. It'll go to Gottschalk by a hair, only for Hudson Howard further back to put in a burner. 78.39. That'll be a 10th clear of Bo Wyatt in the 241. That's the second group now. This first group is 6. They're too close together. This second group here with Westbrook, Hudson Howard, and I believe that maybe, well, they've already caught up, it looks like, to the back of either Slade Harrell or Bo Wyatt. They'll connect the dots right here. That's Harrell. Slade Harrell looks like he might be in a good spot to finish the lap number 3 out. Howard and Westbrook coming along with them. Who's behind them? Aiden Go. Maybe the Parolin, the 278, can get close enough. I don't know if the Bennick duo behind will be enough to get there. This is Brody Brown's pack there, a 3-car pack. They're too far away. But with fast drivers leading the pack, the best place to be, if you can find yourself in that lucky spot, is at the end of it. But again, Hudson Howard, little tap there to Dutch Westbrook in an awkward spot's going to hurt him. Now they're going to pass in front. That'll hurt too. Back goes the 272 machine of Mason Brody, so that'll lose his 3rd lap at speed. We're going to the checkered flag more than likely this time. It'll be a shove for Leo Simone from Liam Francisco, and the Canadians leading the pack. Everyone else out of shape in the last turn. Where are the changes? Simone initially good, but Harrell further back closes up enough and puts in a heater. 77.88, 4/10 clear of the field, and as well, Aiden Go right there with them, able to close the gap to the front 6 and go to 3rd.
You called it right there in terms of the time with where Harrell was in relative to the distance of the carts. So if we get some pull down the straightaway without costing him time at the corners. And now Slade Harrell, a very fast driver, will start at the tippy top of the field. Leo Simone backed up the speed from yesterday as well. Go looking much stronger as well compared to yesterday's qualifying, where it's lower to the edge of the top 10. Able to get a top 3 start, and some of the championship competitors are going to be outside the top 10. Overall, an interesting qualifying session as Slade Harrell is all smiles now down in the tech line. right back to work for qualifying as it's time for Master Shifter to hit the racetrack. Or should I say, these drivers are getting set to go for Master Shifter, brought to you by Rocket Racing Company. Jordan Musser continues to stay very strong all throughout the day today. So far, he's looked very fast in the practice session and now works to lead things off. Yesterday, he was the pole sitter by a 1/10 of a second. One of the drivers looking to improve on yesterday, Robert Feige, will look to try and go to the top of the pylon. So, Master Shifter underway once again. So, how are things looking coming in today without drops factored in? Scott Hargrove still the points leader over Sketchy Barnes. That was a difference coming in today of less than 100 points per the metric so far on the season. Now, more so is under question when it comes to withdrawal, but so far Hargrove has been, when you look at the breakdown on the season, was basically on the podium or winning races the first 3 times out for points tallies. Then the last 2 races have been much more difficult for Hargrove, where he hasn't had the same sort of runs. Only 154 points scored in a race in Cincinnati. That would be his current drop, because yesterday had only 106-point finale, but scored the 3rd most points on the day with 235. So we'll see. They'll stack up here today. Hargrove is not one of the drivers who have set time so far and currently is not scored on the racetrack currently, interestingly enough. There it is.
Yeah, there he goes. Just finally got out onto the circuit. Scott Hargrove opening lap. Nothing there. And so the one we are missing today, Jeff Mills on the Ron White Racing CRG. No times yet from him. So 14 of our original 15 entries from yesterday to the circuit. We're following Jordan Musser around as we begin the push laps here on lap 2. And let's go down to our top qualifier in Micro Swift, Slade Harrell. Biggest margin so far on the weekend, 4/10 clear. He's with Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. Standing by here with Slate. Talk about that qualifying session. It looked like everybody was kind of racing out there. You were able to get the best lap. Talk to us about it a little bit.
Well, I was behind Dutch, and I said in my got some whatever, and he was giving me signals and said get by Dutch, so I went by Dutch. I was behind Linux. They all started going down on the straightaway, and I was like, just stay behind Linux, and I feel like I'll get first. So, yeah.
There you go. Congrats on the pole, Slate.
Thank you.
Oh, we got problems here. The 677, Daniel Paras with the problem. The Velocity Racing Sodi has come to a halt at the exit of the green corner. That's over at the kink there in turn 11. And he will not get anything more than a 13th here in Qualy. Jordan Musser back to the top here. 3rd lap. That'll probably be it for Jordan. We'll see if he goes for pit lane this time by. 3/10 up on John Crow. Hollowell. Larry Pegram going to 4th. Scott Presti 5th. Robert Feige in 6th. Here comes Crow to the pit lane. He's done. Checkers out now. Sketchy Barnes is going to go for more. Jordan Musser looks like he's kind of tiptoeing. I can't tell right now if he's still pushing. It looks like he may not be. No, he is. Big curb hit there. Still digging for more, and he's going to need it. Tim Hollowell to the top. Crow's time now populates to 3rd. So John Crow and Tim Hollowell up on Jordan Musser. He needs to find 2 full tenths here on this final lap to get the pole. Otherwise, local hotshot Tim Hollowell, who was right there at the Summer Nationals last year, is back again and maybe holding the pole on Sunday. He goes on the hot seat as we follow Musser to the line here.
Where will Musser now stack up in terms of time? He's been pushing a bit on this lap. He mentioned he's been trying to give so much data to his teammates and learn. Well, that time was not quicker. It was a tenth slower. So it's going to be Hallwell who stays at the top of the board. John Crow currently on 4th position as the rest of the field takes the checkered.
So checkered flag, and it's official. Tim Hollowell, top qualifier in Shifter Masters. Jordan Musser, not enough on that last time by. Larry Pegram will end up 3rd on his 4th lap to leapfrog over John Crow. Scott Hargrove went out at the back. He ended up putting in a decent lap time. Pretty big field spread, though. Hargrove, Presti, Barnes close together, along with Robert Feege. That's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Justin Kelly improves overnight. He'll close that gap to them as well in 9th. Pierce Baldus 10th, and Kevin Woods, Christian Abat, Daniel Perras, obviously we had the issues with that we saw, and Cameron Cassell's also only 3 laps turned for the 6-3-8. Shifter Masters lined up. Hollowell for VTM Racing Engines and RS Kart, top of the pylon.
Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR, with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Side-by-side contact. They're in the mirrors. They're both in the wall. Daniel Vasile will win Pro Shifter. Unbelievable turn of events. And Italian Motors wins again.
But the heartbreak and the emotion so close.
Everybody knows the Super Nationals. Everybody's watching it.
Okay, I mean, Vegas is Vegas. You want to win this. This is our Indy 500. This is our big one.
Welcome to Super Sunday.
K100 Senior by Nash Motorsports now on the racetrack for their qualifying session. Yesterday's benchmark was a 1:11.4. Looking on board with Chase Gassie at lead with your Coastal Inc. printing on board. Some of the drivers have some issues being able to get going. The rest of the field now tries to see where they stack up. This is the bottom half of the qualifying order. We'll see who's able to shuffle to the top here today. Some of the drivers of note were in this respective group as we see Chase Gassie in the lower corner. Is Gassie, Antoine Lemieux is amongst this grouping. Caden O'Connor, Zach Coleman DeMello is a big name. That is going to be in this grouping as well. Joseph Hewitt also down there in this pack as well. Freddie Siemens also as well. So, qualifying underway once again for KA100 Senior. Here's Xander. We'll see where things now go. It's been interesting so far. I'm curious about where CCD stacks up out of this group because he was able to get himself around the top 10 despite being the slow group yesterday by the time we got to the final.
That and Henry Wheeler and Chase Gassie at late both running with him in the earlier qualifying session from yesterday. Seemed to work out good for Zach. Didn't work out as good for those two, and while they were kind of around James Overbeck, they didn't have the monstrous drive that Overbeck, the reigning champ, did to get through the pack and catch the lead, the main lead group in yesterday's main event. Now these two, again, Gassiet, Lee, and Wheeler, as we get to ride alongside with Chase here on the Coastal Link onboard, they were okay still. Again, out of a 45-plus grid to be in the top 15 and battling there is nothing to hold your head about. But at the same point, they need a little more to get all the way to be on the top 3 steps for today's main events. I don't think it was just about positioning. They needed some speed to find overnight. Again, though, with a fresh start and plenty of hours last night to dive back through the footage of onboards, dive back through our broadcast footage, dive all into their data as well of what they could look for a little more, listen to the support systems they've got around them. Mike Doty, one of the most well-respected driver coaches and team owners in the pits. He has a long history of superstars that have come under his out from his tutelage. And Henry Wheeler now in that camp is getting to benefit from all of that expertise. And he's really enjoyed being there since making the switch right before the Cincinnati round of the SKUSA Pro Tour. New home, obviously, for Zach as well here with Velocity Racing Sodi. This is I believe, the last weekend of the stretch on the initial agreement, hoping to really become a more stable and staple home for him. He said the last couple of years he's kind of bounced around and maybe really hasn't taken it nearly as serious as he should have, knowing that it was all a mix of one-offs that had no future. But here, with Velocity Racing and Sodi Kart, that's the goal. And he's lost weight, he's gotten in shape, he's taken better care of himself, he's tried to clean himself up and perform, and the speed started to come along with it. Now we saw Nick Eggleston, promising young talent out of the Southwest, the Arizona-based Ruthless Karting driver last year, made a number of waves on his limited starts that we were broadcasting for the Eastern Coast events. He was the promoter's pick from the Miami Grand National Championship to get into the Pro X30 shootout, and he was fast there as well. But now he'll have to sit on that first lap or second lap at speed. It's going to drop him to 7th in the group. Fast time will be our onboard cameraman, Chase Gassiet Lee, to a 71.7 that time. Mick Gabriel on the AEM Karting Tony Kart to 2nd, ZCD to 3rd, Lucas Zabo, Henry Wheeler, your top 5 as we check in with the number 1 plate, James Overbeck. What about a day here for Eli Warren? He was a couple thousand shy of going 2 poles on the national tour in a row here for the month of July. Pole award at Quaker City with the Star Series. Pole award here in a stacked field for KA Senior at the SKUSA Pro Tour. But instantly the pack was swarming him, and you just make one split decision of going left or right when you should have gone the opposite, and you'll lose 3 or 4 spots in those opening couple of laps or more, and it's really hard to fight that backwards momentum. Once he kind of got pushed back to around that 5th or 10th spot in both the pre-final and the final for Eli, the pack would then split before he could fight his way back up front. He knows the speed is there. He showed it yesterday. He's leading them out right now with no signs at the moment to feel the need to drop back. And he's got a lot of faith in James Overbeck. They both have grown up here in the Midwest, raced against each other numerous times, and I think you may see them look better together than any other duo in this fast group. So let's see if they can make the most of it here with clear racetrack in front of them as they complete the outlap. Behind them, Quentin Angeli on the Rocket Racing Company LN kart.
Yeah, Eli Warren, I think in particular here in the race, is going to be today hoping not to have what he had started off. Immediately had elbows out that poked him all the way to the back end of the top 10. I think today is going to be just trying to focus up and being able to have a clean run without making any enemies to close out the season, while also performing as well as you can. I know that's almost like a trapeze acrobatic act at that point, trying to walk the fine line between the both, but you almost have to if you want to be able to really progress as a driver here. A lot of these groupings really spread apart here. Some of these drivers, such as Massimino, did not want to wait there, believe. So some of these competitors already making it clear they want to be able to get up to the front of the respective pack and not get held up here. We've seen raw speed by some of these drivers once they get on their own here, as some of the others just try and go early on the break and back up these corners to get a good launch for the run up to 17-18.
This will be the first lap, first read as we follow along yesterday's pole award winner, clinching his first career U.S. National Championship, Diego Ramos, here with the SKUSA Pro Tour and KA Senior. First full run at it, 1 for 1 on tries, and a dominant run yesterday. Led every lap of competition from the pole. He's now pulled up to the bumper of Paulie Massimino and the two veterans in front of him. He seems to be content to follow both Paulie and Oliver Hodgson up there in the comp car. New suit for Ollie today, as the suit broke on the grid yesterday and they had to duct tape it on so it wouldn't rip open. So he'll be a little bit different to pick out.
And I believe there was a conversation actually as well when it came to that suit too on the grid, where there's superstition about it because, well, it's about how well you perform in the suit, and unfortunately, it's a safety thing, right? You can't just go on the racetrack and drive around with a suit where you're duct taped all day because, well, it's not practical. But hey, now today we'll see where where he's able to stack up with the different suit as Ramos takes the slingshot run. We'll see where this time stacks up this time. And still, no major shuffling on the board here. And yes, that is correct. Your fast drivers, Diego Ramos, only getting up to about 8th position right now on the racetrack. He's only in the 112 flats. The pole is a 111.7.
Yeah, they're going to need more here on this next lap around. Let's see if it is going to end up being a little bit more for your KA 100 seniors, working their way up and over the crest to the green corner here. Coming up on what should be the final lap or next to last lap, trying to keep a tab on it all. Colin Lloyd, we check in with him here in the 913 Velocity Sodi. Then it's Donovan Bonilla, Dalton Haynes, Lucas Zabo, Cooper Auclair. Lots of big names right behind Jose Carlos Hernandez. A less than desired Saturday for the Orsilon Tony Kart driver. They'll head to the I-70 hairpin and come to complete lap number 3. What can we get to here as they go to the line? Fastest on the racetrack. Gonna go with a good lap for Overbeck. He'll go 4th. Eli Warren should go up there. Ramos' final or 3rd lap that time was good. That'll be a 71.56.
Ramos blisteringly quick right now, but the big story I think about all this still is Chase Gasly is still in the conversation to be able to be having a top 5 starting spot for the pre-final. And he talked about when I spoke with him before, to remind those who didn't watch on with coverage on Saturday. On Friday was, we have had bad luck hit after bad luck hit. Today, it's looking like the luck is much there for Gasly. The speed is there. Same for CCD in terms of pace. So they have really progressed a lot, those karts, since Friday with the happy hour compared to today, where they're going to have great starting positions. Overbeck shuffles his way around. Eli Warren will stay in front of him 9th and 10th as the checker flag waves.
Yeah, no major changes there. Final lap for Oliver Hodgson's going to put him up to 4th. Colin Lloyd 3rd. But it's a full weekend sweep of the pole awards. Diego Ramos remains perfect in KA Senior. PSL karting on top, but how about the laps from some of the slow group drivers? Chase Gasly, fastest in the group. 2nd fastest overall at that 71.7. Caleb's got him.
Yeah, Chase, what a lap right out of that second group. Happy hour didn't go your way. I would say yesterday didn't go your way either, but today you put yourself on the front row. Talk about that lap.
Yeah, it was a really good lap. I set up pretty good. I went out in traffic, I passed a few people, and then set up a lap behind Mick, Zach, and all the top guys up front, and just had a nice tow down the straight without getting held up.
I know we were following you right on the onboard camera. We didn't get to hear your side of things on the main event, what the mishap for you guys was there. So giving you the chance now, right? What didn't go right for you yesterday in the main event?
Yeah, yesterday we were good. We were like keeping up. We were catching to the front group, and then we had a stator issue, so we just lost a lot of time down the straightaway and just didn't have a lot of lap time.
Feeling better going into today?
Yeah, 100%. We're going to figure out the go-kart a little bit more, and there's some more time in it, so we'll find some more.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Chase Gassie at Lee, and as I said, he's had bad luck after bad luck so far, and now has some runs. Some karts already off as our next group is underway. X30 Junior by Rolliston Performance Group, now zipping around the racing surface. And yesterday, when it came to qualifying, remind those who did not watch along yesterday, Max Weiland set the pole time, and the one night with a, well, if you break it down by seconds, a 69.827 on the board. Sarah Bradley was quick all throughout yesterday. Tristan Murphy, Ashton Woon in the very end, though, was a top 5 qualifier, as well as Luca Popescu. So today, we'll see where these drivers' times settle. The bottom of the board ended up being, for reference, 110s. Some drivers still off track excursioning. That is the 756 of Bristol Boardman. We now get ourselves going for the first time around 4 official lap times up on the board. We'll see where these times now settle on in here for these respective competitors. Amongst those on the racetrack of note, Daniel Ibarra. We've seen good speed. Inigo Irwin went for a bit of a ride yesterday, was able to get away from said incident where the cart went upside down for an off-track excursion. William Vitor was very quick in qualifying yesterday. Time held up pretty well amongst the top 15 or so by the end of the warm-up session. Or rather, the end of the qualifying is the way to phrase. So we'll see how they go. Yukin Yao was also amongst the drivers that were able to stay upright in the top 10 also that had been in the slow group. Yao had been amongst those that looked very fast yesterday. See a small breakaway of 3 karts working together. 2 of them are RPGs looking to be able to launch their way forward here. First time's come across the stripe. It's going to be Drysdale leading things off with a 112 flat. Yao in the 112, 143 range to start off. So this group seems to be amongst the fast pack. 2 of the top 3 times so far are in this choo-choo train. Then David Ibarra just riding along, trying to fall behind the teammates as they work together here in this session. Sometimes teamwork, well, makes the dream go fly on by. Peyton Anderson is amongst those looking to make some moves. Now Anderson willing to be the tow driver, to feed some tow back over to Drysdale. Now for Anderson. This is where the coordination comes into play, and you see this a lot in road racing as well, where you have one driver that sets a fast time. Okay, now I'm going to try this out with the switch around. We will help my teammate get a fast time so we can work together as a unit. Anderson jumps up. Yao jumps up to second. 3 RPG karts in the top 3. 4 up in the top 5. As the rest of the field puts up some times up on the session. Brandon Ninja jumps up. You also have Mateo Calderon, who jumps up to the 3rd position now on the far side of the racetrack on the Speed Concepts machine in this group. Talking about some of the drivers here, Peyton Anderson, a 2021 Female Rookie of the Year Carter at one time from Utah. Also showed some good speed over the past few years, including a Utah K100 Junior Championship in 2023. Amongst those in the field here today. We'll see where Anderson lines up overall. Yao, though, Yao still holds on to second and is working off the back end of one orange cart. See some adjustments being made, slipping on back into this grouping is the 760. Once again of Ibarra, who had started off strong but has faded back. Yao now able to leapfrog to the top of the board, be able to battle for a pole. There has been a pole, remember, for Yao on the season. Yao set an X30 Junior pole back 16 weeks ago in competition. That was back over in Houston, where that was the top of the board for a pre-final pole. Will today be the same case? 1:10.483 is the time right now. That yesterday would have put those drivers around 21st though. Track has slowed down a little bit compared to yesterday, and now Yao is off the racetrack, so throw away the last time into the bin. So troubles on the final times around here for Yao and company. Checker flag should be waving based on the clock here already. 5+ minutes burned in the session. Drivers come across the stripe here to finish out. And Anderson just jumped to second. She's in front of Kyle Drysdale. David Ibarra holds on to fourth now. We also have moving up in the top 5. Teo Quinto now moving up is Brandon Kins, who jumps up to the 4th position. Mason Berry holds on to 7th amongst those in this group. William Vitor had a great qualifying yesterday, only able to get to 10th in the back group of this session.
So X30 Juniors wrapped, 2 classes still with grids to be set. Yukin Yao by 1/10 will get to take a nice break here in the day. Just like yesterday, there's a healthy gap added after their qualifying to their pre-final for these back half of the lineup groups. They'll run before the lunch break today, but they will run after that Pro Shifter pre-final. In fact, that'll be slotted right after Pro X30 qualifying. Back-to-back headline sessions here. First, though, here, the fast group in X30 Junior to roll. So Yukin Yao, 74.83. And your quick group already onto the circuit and full bore. Ashton Woon not wasting any time here on this outlap, Justin. He is getting after it.
Already trying to push as you see some live standings in the bottom corner of your screen. Right now, Alexander Vanchev looking decently comfortable with Woon. Remember, 10 points on the line for the pole position. Max Weiland had been very fast yesterday in the qualifying sessions to be able to take away some points, be able to help their chances. But today, Vanchev looking for a better qualifying than yesterday. It was more so what happened in Cincinnati in terms of luck compared to the first 3 races of the season, where it was Vanchev City, including the standing up and celebrating in Houston for the first time around by 20+ seconds. Never seen that celebration of the kart before, where you try and finish standing up. But for today, he's already had the bad luck Vanchev has in his first class, where he's going to be starting 45th. He's hoping that the bad luck doesn't carry. He hopes he hasn't crossed underneath any ladders, past any broken mirrors, anything along those lines here.
8.5 minutes to go here with qualifying, or 8.5 minutes elapsed here for X30 Junior qualifying. For Yukin Yao, Peyton Anderson, Kyle Drysdale. I mean, Kyle Drysdale had some really good pace at earlier events in the year. All 3 of those RPG drivers easily could still land pretty well above the group. But while we've got a lot of drivers pulling double duty here and running both K Junior and X30 Junior, it doesn't seem like we're seeing the same level of gamesmanship here out of the fast group. They're doing a much better job of trying to stay in line or spread apart to only run with a couple of cars and put good laps in. So as the first times go to the top, it'll be Jackson Gibson here now moving up the board. He'll set the first flyer at a 7.24, 70.452.
And we've seen decent qualifying in some of the classes for Gibson yesterday in the KA100 chassis. Yesterday in the X30 Junior Jackson, Gibson had been down in 16th position. So a bit of a change of pace here today, but it's now 5 RPG karts in a row, 2nd through 6th for now in the session. That is team consistency right there for the entire organization, and I mean, it's fitting. They are the series sponsor for this series, for this part of SKUSA. So it kind of shows the domination for RPG in the X30 chassis that Caleb really hit upon earlier today, where they have consistency in the Pro chassis as well to contend for championships as an organization against Speed Concepts.
Again, they've been the force, right? Really, it's been a kudos to the Speed Lab engines, to Speed Concepts Racing, to BN engines, closing the gap and being able to figure out what RPG had covered for many seasons here in the field. There's now a good split of different engine builders that are feeling like they can hang, whereas there was a time not long ago that this class saw the numbers fade because many didn't feel like they had a chance to compete. And now we've seen a lot of different faces at the front, and while again Alexander Vanchev has a healthy championship lead, even off of the day he had to endure yesterday, having to start from the rear, drive through the field in the pre-final, only cracked the top 10 by the end of it. Ashton Woon and Sarah Bradley were very impressive out front. Travis Pettit showed speed. Max Weiland was digging at the end of yesterday's main, trying to hunt down rookie Ashton Woon. At one point, he was nearly 3 or 4 tenths faster than the entire field. He's got a big run here on the 727. That is another one of the entries. That's Voris Vega. His first season in X30 Junior, a mid-season jump up. But Weiland with a perfect slipstream shake and bake lap there at the end. He'll go way to the top. 6 tenths clear. 69.213. Travis Pettit next best here. And they're going to need something major to slow this kid down. Max Weiland now rolling up to the championship leader like it's nothing. And while this lap he may get impeded a bit just by the natural flow of traffic, I don't know if anyone's going to get even remotely close to that lap he just laid down.
Yeah, that is absolutely blistering. Here for comparison, what he did in the pole yesterday, he was quicker than that by 6-7 tenths of a second. Yesterday's pole mark is where Travis Pettit is right now on pace. He's so quick, he's able to make some passes. Meanwhile, those on the RPG 10 and RPG truck watching with intrigue to see where Vanchev is going to stack up against him. Right now, Vanchev is drafting off the back of him with the checker flag waving. No surprise, no changes this time around on the board. Top 3 stay stationary. Gibson, much better compared to yesterday in the top 5 for qualifying.
So now, wrapped and done for X30 Junior. I was a bit premature with the earlier call. And again, it's an adjustment for myself too. In the booth, biggest grid for X30 Junior in quite some time. 45 drivers, but a huge lap, a monster lap out of Max Weiland. He backed it up on that previous lap, or on the final lap around, with a 69.5. That still would have put him pole by over 2.5 tenths. So a massive lap for Mad Max. And that'll bring a big smile to his face and the Magic Kart crew on a day where they are fighting for a whole lot. Weiland with an outside shot at both junior championships. And the Magic Man himself, AJ Myers, is getting ever closer to another feather in the cap with a SKUSA Pro Tour title. And the winningest driver in the history of the Summer Nationals across, I believe, any division. AJ Myers could do it again today, and he's got one of the prettiest places to start from in the pre-final that'll be coming up. So Max Weiland, pole for X30 Junior Qualifying. First couple laps coming in for the Mini Swift drivers here in group number 1, presented by Speed Concepts Racing. Simon Klein to the top along with Lucas Tarango. Tarango by a lot, but it's still not even as much as our current pole sitter in X30 Junior, Max Weiland. Nearly 6/10 clear, Caleb.
Yeah, what a lap out of you there, Max. Walk me through. We've heard from a lot of drivers, right, that the draft has been so important. We saw it pay its effect, right, with your lap there.
I saw the consistency. I realized I wanted to set up a gap to get the draft. I pulled out about a second, and I put my head down. I got to get this lap done. Ducking, did anything I could, and by the end of it, I was on the bumper. I got pulled. I
want to talk a little bit about Trackhouse, right? That was the last time you won. The first time you won as well, but yesterday you were close again. A second-place finish. What do you need to do today to finish on the top step?
To be consistent. I made too many mistakes in that last race, and due to that, that was the thing that cost me from the win. I think if I keep consistency, it's going to be hard to beat me.
There you go. Good luck, Max.
Thank you.
Some good words from Max Weiland as we continue on with the qualifying session for the minis. Right now, things looking pretty stable up at the front for Tarango. Tarango looking to not have any mechanical faults like yesterday, because Tarango had a great run up inside about the top 10, near top 5 just about, before the Kart just wouldn't turn, and they ended off his race in the grass outside of turn 16. Backing up the speed here today. Yesterday, Tarango, for reference, had been 13th in the qualifying session. Was able to move up inside the top 5 or so by the time the end of the pre-final hit. Some of the errors in this grouping looking fast. Kai Park is currently 3/10 back of Tarango. You have Brandon Shore that's looked pretty quick in the session. Hudson Hidalgo, who was second to last just about yesterday in the session from Qualy, is doing a lot better today, into the 6th position, half a second back of, oh my goodness, someone went on the grass and nearly wheelied it. 2-3 different drivers go off and dodge. Bit of a nervous moment there as somebody went off track and just about did a wheelie after they went off after the curbing going through the shark fin. The rest of the pack is able to hold on here. Checker flag should be and is displayed for this session. Tarango, top of the board, does stay with Park Shore, Dominic Vera, Simon Klein in the top 5 in this part of qualifying. Now we'll see where the other half of the group stacks on up. Remember, today's field 35 strong with a good championship battle. We touched upon this earlier on. 3 different drivers are in the conversation. Enzo Di Gennaro, Gianfrancisco, Win Gottschalk, with a chance to be able to contend.
So there you go, first group in the books. Let's take a look back at that moment that just went down here with our shopakr.com replay from one half of the Mini Swifts now, as the fast group gets released onto the circuit here. And you can see, man, just a real pucker factor moment as he dropped the one tire in front of everybody. And again, that's just it goes along with what I was mentioning a little bit earlier, Justin, right? When you're in a pack of this size and you're buried in it, you're banking on everyone in front of you to hit their marks and not make mistakes. When they do, it hurts you, right? That's the risk versus reward factor. You know, if you go out in front, like we see Paxton Romero is, you're in control of your own destiny, but again, you're not going to get any help. You're not going to have that rabbit to chase. You're not going to have someone punching a hole in the air in front of you to draft off of. So we're seeing, obviously, that be more of the choice that the field wants to do. In fact, everyone's going to do it as Romero slams the brakes and they split him. And now Win Gottschalk goes to the front of the what feels like entire group here in Mini Swift.
Yeah, one driver there just about did the same thing again, by the way. There is almost a bit of a drop-off with the elevation change in the exit of the shark fin coming out of turn 14 to 15, where some of the drivers have a divot that they've worked in with some of the off-track excursions so far this weekend in at this facility. And it's catching some of the karts off guard when they go to the edge of that racing surface trying to push, and it costs them so much time and nearly snaps them on around into a spin. Now, this train is somewhere around near 20 karts deep, all trying to work together. Francisco in particular is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on here in this one today. Yesterday, Francisco had been in the top 5. Looks solid as some of the drivers in the mid-pack of this group are not being so patient right now. They all want to go.
Yeah, they're all bustling to try and get up to the front of the pack. They know that's where the real fastest drivers of the weekend to this point are living. At Wynn Gottschalk, the impressive day that Lawrence Perriman put together for round 5. Maxwell Mach and Enzo De Janeiro, though, the 2 combatants from the main event, I mean, they're in the middle. They've got a good amount all jockeying to try and be third in line behind him as Cameron Johnson fades back to the front of Alex Chandler, and they're going to go side by side even behind him as well. And that's going to be one of the Bennecks, and I believe maybe Connor Lipka. If I've got that right, I might have that one wrong. A different one of the comp card entries here lined up just in tow. Indeed, I'll be a bit off on that. I'll correct myself here in a moment once we do get the rest of the IDs. They get their first laps onto the screen.
Yeah, and so far, speeds, remember, 1:15.6 was the pole time yesterday. Right now, 1:17.2 is the benchmark by Durango. So there's a lot more room to be able to move upward on the time so far. So Bennecks now working out of the 1:25. Is the kart that leads this respective pack when Gottschalk in that grouping, trying to push onto the back end of the 121 machine, trying to put Ashton Wyatt a little bit forward here to try and close up to Perriman. Use Perriman as a draft to be able to get some double toe, be able to get some good speed for the straightaway, be able to set up good time. Santiago Orioli has the exact same idea at this point in this pack. So we'll see where the times now really stack up as they nearly stack up the back end of the 124 machine. Now they keep them going. The 124 is Marcelo Flores for reference, who was 28th yesterday. Francisco goes top of the board today. There goes Orioli and Maxwell Macha having a macho run.
Big time lap there for Maxwell. After the performance he put in yesterday, the bar is set pretty high. Really, the whole summer stretch, we've given a lot of love to him, and it's well-deserved. He's been phenomenal in qualifying. Right now, though, he's going to be a little bit mired in traffic as he pulls up to the back of the 124 of Marcelo Flores on the Pinnacle Racing Development TB kart. Those two a little ways back now from the back of Liam Nachawati's Kart Republic. And now as Jaden Francisco continues to run all by his lonesome out in the front of the pack, he'll round that infield hairpin, head up the run towards I-70. And this time to it. Oh, a diver from Wynn Gottschalk down the inside and through on Santi Orioli. Checkers will go this time. That'll hurt Orioli. He'll be done basically as everyone flurries down the inside of the OKP MPG driver. This will be it. To the line. Can anyone dethrone Macha? That was a 3/10 monster toe lap he got. Jaden Francisco by himself still currently sits second. Will it hold? To the line. Big changes. Aston Wyatt to the top. Now he'll get bumped back. And De Janeiro with a big lap at the end. Enzo to try and build on the momentum of yesterday and leapfrog Francisco in a very close title fight. Scores an invaluable 10-point bonus with the last lap run to the pole.
That's going to be extremely good for him in the championship standings conversation. Without the drop, the points difference had been under 70 points. And now able to build a little bit more of a buffer as he continues what's been a stellar campaign on raw speed to be up towards the front. De Janeiro going to be smiling underneath that purple helmet once he finds out that it's another Team 1-2, where yesterday those two worked together to run away from the rest of the field.
Here's a look at everyone else and where they ended. Liam Nachawati 5th. Jaden Francisco, very impressive all by himself in 6th. Orioli still holding strong from that earlier lap to go to 7th. Then you've got, of course, Win Godshock, Lawrence Perriman, Cameron Johnson's Nash Motorsports debut looking solid. P10, Lucas Tarango, Connor Lipka indeed in the 188 Comp Kart. Gabriel Salza there on the Velocity Sodi, Nathan Ramirez and Kai Park, your top 15. All chasing the red and white Paralyn machines. 1-2 yesterday, 1-2 in qualifying. Enzo Di Gennaro on the top here as we get set for Pro X30.
Pro X30 already hitting the racetrack. We'll see where they now go to finish out the qualifying sessions. Qualifying's gone relatively quick. We do have Caleb, I believe, standing on by, who has some information and believe a question. Caleb.
Yeah, I've kind of been walking around the paddock so far this morning, and actually with our shifters coming up next, and this also applies to a lot of different classes, right? A lot of tuners, a lot of mechanics have been talking about carburation and how it's been different at this place. And Xander, I'm actually curious to hear from you. What about Newcastle makes it, if you will, I guess, more difficult or throws a wrench at things as far as carburation goes with these engines?
Well, for one thing on this layout, Caleb, I will say that the big point is the leader is that snowplow, right? There's the curbs that they've put in. These inside and exit curbs were an improvement that was made about midway through this stretch of the Summer Nationals period that's now lasted 11 iterations here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, where originally they were all just flat and below the surface. Then they raised up the inside curbs to be a little bit higher, more like the standard FIA style curbing that you jump if you clip them, but also the exit curbs, they purposely grade those a little bit away from the surface. You'll watch as the red curbs on the outside kind of fade off. And so because of that, and you add in the shark fin not having nearly as much exit and entry curbing as some of the other portions of the circuit on the regular layout, you're getting a lot more dirt and debris kind of kicked onto the track. That getting into the engines altogether is going to mess with things, but the air and the humidity this weekend has varied quite a bit. These engines are very temperamental when it comes to hitting the right sweet spot with carburation. So you're going to see drivers turn those needles all of about as it's measured per the IAME engine manuals or the fish, known by hours and minutes. And again, a minute turn, think of it like a clock, just a hair. You're having to be so precise with it. You're looking obviously at a couple of different things to try and set that. You'll see many of the drivers, they'll have obviously those onboard data gauges, right? They'll wrap those around the spark plug boot to be able to measure RPM, but they'll also run another wire that'll go just behind the main engine block to the exit exhaust port end of the exhaust pipe to run the EGT, the exhaust engine temperature. And depending on the sensor you have, that sensor goes bad. You're using that initially to kind of, as a driver, look at that number that'll populate on the data gauge and see, all right, are we running a little bit hot? Okay, we're not getting enough fuel to the motor. If you're running a little bit cold, anywhere between maybe 950 degrees to 1150, and it really depends. Really, the sweet spot's in around that 1020 to 1080 range. But your engine builder is going to build a motor and tell you to run that certain temp. If you have this exhaust sensor, if you have this exhaust sensor with a washer between it, it's going to measure a little higher. The temp will read a little different. So you have to know that. You're going off that gauge. But even then, if the sensor's a bit off, the only way to do it is to eyeball check the pipe by pulling it off after every session, looking at it, looking at the spark plug. If the inside of the pipe is white from white hot temps, well, again, you're running hot. If it's dark black, well, then you're running too cold. If it's that nice kind of caramel brown or a little darker, then you're right in the sweet spot. And they're looking again as well on the spark plug. So you'll see many times the driver or the mechanics, the moment that the cart cools back down, the exhaust pipe's disconnected, the spark plug boot's off. They're going to take that, look at it, make an adjustment, go out, and then guess what? You're guessing what the weather's going to be, what the humidity, the air temp, whether you're getting sunshine, if the motor's going to run a little bit hotter and the surface is hotter or not. Again, that's not going to matter so much with the airflow to the motor, but the fuel mixture, it is such a finite line to try and perfect. And when you're looking for every last inch, you've seen all the drivers on track visibly fighting for toe, fighting for draft, trying to get themselves in that perfect slipstream spot. You're looking for the last little bit, right? And that could be the difference of a mile an hour, half mile an hour, quarter mile an hour.
And in a class like Pro X30, that could be 10 positions in one time. There's a lot that you're trying to hit the perfect mark on. Chassis setup, engine setup, gear ratios, and of course hitting your marks. The driver, the biggest thing to adjust on is the variable between the seat and the steering wheel and the pedals. At the moment, doing the best job of it here in this group still, the young lady from Trinidad, Naomi Garcia, 68.751 as we follow Frankie Iadavea, Finn Bailiff leading the group. And look a little further down to find some more. There's Sydney Cassels on the Catalyst Driver Development Intel Kart. First full season for the team, first full season for her. And of course, Sydney Castles along with Cameron Castles in Master Shifter. Double duty weekend for the family and a long trek or a long flight to get out here from the Pacific Northwest. The number 12 currently in 5th in group, about a half second to find to get to Naomi. Let's see if this lap's any better. It'll be the final one, I believe, when they hit the line. Garcia did not improve, neither did Keegan Kaminsky, who's at 2nd. Lepard did not. Connor Chin will. He'll push Sydney down to 7th, and so will Iadavea. He'll go up to 6th.
Not about to start the qualifying session, but one of those drivers to keep an eye on is the one now on screen, Ryan Norberg. Yesterday, disastrous day when it came to his pre-final, was put in the back, had essentially a drop day from what happened in terms of bad luck. Austin Garrison electing to lead this pack right here and working with one of the drivers who really capitalized on the rainy day and being Ingrata. Aiden Ingrata will be working with the 6 machine to start things off. And remember, Ingrata had been amongst those who was shuffled in the final with a bit of contact to the side pod that moved the 55 back out of the conversation pretty quickly in the opening laps of that race.
Aiden Ingrata, though, what more can you say about the performance he had in that pre-final?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first man through the wall, essentially, into the rain for the majority of that session. And it was so impressive to watch him have to navigate the tricky conditions, slick tires in the wet. And there were plenty of comments both online and at the racetrack about the decision for SKUSA Race Control to let the pro drivers continue to finish that session out in the monsoon conditions as the heavens opened up. Nobody opted for rains. Everybody was on slicks, even the best of them. Austin Garrison, Jesus Vasquez Jr., the Brits who spend about as much time racing in the rain as they do in the dry back home. Caden McQueen, Gus Lawrence, even mistakes out of them. Everybody was going over the limit because it was shifting so quickly and it was so hard to find the balance. And Aiden mastered it up until that final lap around when ultimately Blake Nash got the better of him. But still, it put him in such a good spot to fight for the main. He ended up with a solid points haul and has leapfrogged himself safely inside the top 10 in the championship. And with a good day in the dry on Friday, a good release on the grid here, he is right behind his teammate and team leader for Speed Concepts Racing and Pro X30, Austin Garrison, who had a much-needed Saturday to keep his championship hopes alive in the fight with Ryan Norberg. Norberg, on the other hand, having the day that he did not want to see, where he lost some ground, and Garrison, without the drops factored in, leads the way. Of course, he's been more consistent over the year without having the bad luck that Norberg experienced at the start of that pre-final. But it's a best 5 of 6 championship. So with the drops factored in, that's the current standings, all unofficial, obviously on your screen, what we're showing you. But it's in total, Ryan Norberg still in control. He needs to score 284 points today. If he does that with a good run through the pre-final in Maine and potentially picking up a 10-point bonus either here in qualifying or that fast lap of the main event, he controls his own destiny. That really means, again, if he's a third or better in the main and a second or better in the pre-final, it's done. However, if he's any bit further back and Austin Garrison can repeat the main event result from yesterday and score a massive haul to close that deficit from 36 markers, Ryan Norberg will watch as that number 1 plate for 2026 and the 2025 Super Nationals has to shift to a 2, and it's a $5,000 cash swing in the prize fund. $10,000 in cash along with an extra $5,500 in prize value for entry fees and tires for the entire next year's Pro Tour and this year's Super Nats to the champ. The second place gets that same trade package, but only a $5K cash stipend. And then the prize pool goes all the way down to 10th, which is also another big talking point. How many drivers are inside or outside the top 10 in the standings with or without drops? Right now, Jesus Vasquez Jr. at the bottom right corner, you can see, is the driver on the bubble, 10th place with drops factored in. Only 34 marks above Donovan Bonilla. Chase Hand, off the great run yesterday with a top 5 result in the main, ended up moving himself closer to that cut line. He's 53 back. Good day today. He could leapfrog his GFC teammate to get into that Circle of Champions fun. But let's go back to the on-track activity because it's starting to really materialize. We've got an issue for Blake Nash, actually, same time. Big off for him as he had to take the cut through past the shark fin here on lap 3. He should get a 4th lap, but he'll need to clean those tires off. Disaster for yesterday's runner-up. He is down in 8th and dropping as Diego Ramos resets now his fast time from lap 2. 68.0, nothing better on lap 3. Norberg's second lap. Now his third. He closes down to 100th away. Still only P2. The 10-point bonus goes the way of the Brazilian. It's off the table for the 2 title combatants as the checkers are now coming out. This will be the final lap here, Justin. Ramos, Norberg, Paulie Massimino 2/10 back. Mossman, Isambard, where's Garrison? Down in 9th right now. 68.52, far from that 10-point bonus.
Yeah, right now, Ramos still looking for the full pole sweep on the weekend here, trying to go 4 for 4 in qualifying. But Massimino's been a huge challenge for this session. He's been mightily quick, started off at the top time, still keeping up with Garrison as Garrison is, if anything, feeding more draft to the 5 than pushing here.
Let's take a look down the long straight. Final time, Paulie Massimino with the run. Does he shove Garrison? He'll give him a little love right before the break zone. Big send, last corner, last-ditch effort. 5th, nothing better, and he'll get dropped further now as more hit the line. Big lap out of Alan Isambard. Norberg had to make a pass on this lap earlier off cam in turn 2. It will not be an improvement, and the 10-point bonus washed it away for the top 2. Diego Ramos, for the second consecutive day, sweeps the poles in the senior classes. What a run. He wins out here in Pro X30 qualifying. Norberg 100th back. Alan Isambard a 10th and a half away. Paulie Massimino, Frankie Mossman, a solid day here to start. Gus Lawrence, Aiden Ingrata, Austin Garrison, Donovan Bonilla, and Ruben Moya, your top 10. And what does that do to the championship standings? Well, folks, again, just to let you know, 10 points is all she wrote for qualifying. It only goes to the pole man, and Diego Ramos has scored those. So now, as we look through the grid with the rest of the drivers lining up, the grid also beginning to populate here with the pro shifters. Here's where everyone else for Pro X30, when they hit the racetrack again, will sort themselves out. Let's get ready here for Pro Shifters pre-final. We'll take the swap over to the feed. This will be members only as we go racing here for the morning. And we'll get ready to go down to Caleb as well for a last-ditch effort to give us everything we need to know for the 6-speed gearbox machines.
Alrighty, welcome here. We're on the grid with our shifter drivers, and one of the biggest things that we've talked about, right, tires is one of the biggest conversations that we've had so far this weekend, and I want you guys to walk with me a little bit. We've kind of been taking a look at the tires that we've seen with drivers. Kyle Wick's rear tires look a little bit more used in comparison to what we've seen with Billy Musgrave, right? It's how much did you save in those first 2 races here when we head into the pre-final, and then you have a couple of different strategies. Let's walk a little further back here, Hunter. We work our way back with the first driver on new set of tires here in this pre-final. Brent Cruz, a slick set of tires. And again, you are allowed to do that. So we'll see what we can do. Keep an eye on Brent. Keep an eye on a couple of others further back in the